Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
We are going to talk about March. The middle of March is where we're at right now. What is today's date? The 16th, 15th of March. We're going to go over some of the energy. The 15th. We're going to go over some of the energy from the full moon, which was on March 9th. A lot of major things occurred from March 9th up till today. So what we're going to do is take an energetic walk through the astrology. Right. All right. We want to discuss the big stuff that's happening, and we're all aware of it because we're all kind of under house arrest in a way, right? It's COVID-19. And discussing the relative Neptune and the moon and hygiene and isolation.
And Uranus.
Right.
And Saturn.
Right. Restriction, boundaries, borders, freedom. So all these keywords are relevant. And we're just going to go ahead and dive deep and talk about all astrology.
Let's kick it off with the full moon that happened back on the 9th. Things have been
March
a little...
9th, yeah.
Oh, God. What did I say?
No, you said the 9th. I just wanted to make sure that people
March
knew we were
9th.
talking about the past, March 9th, 2020.
The Virgo full moon.
Right.
Virgo, this isn't said a whole lot, but Virgo often has to do with hygiene.
It's a big keyword for Virgo. It's kind of slips through the cracks because, like in an astrology chart, when you're talking to somebody, you know, that's not one of the things that you're like, okay, you need to watch your hygiene. You know, it's not a big factor. You know, it's like I want to hear about my job and my health, right?
Right. But when we talk about health, hygiene is part of health. How you take care of yourself is very much tied into hygiene. How you actually physically care for your physicality, care for your body is hygiene. So if you're not taking care of your body, if you're not keeping it clean, if you're not eating well, how you take care of it inside and out. The asteroid Ceres is very much tied to Virgo. So that is how you take care of your body on the inside. It has to do with food. So, you know, these things are all tied into that Virgo energy.
So let's bring up the current energy and let's talk about the full moon, which was like 19, 20 degrees of the Virgo energy, you know, and then opposing that at the opposite, here comes with her damn lighter, at the opposite end of the full moon. I know, I hear people comment about it all the time. At the opposite end of the full moon, we had Neptune.
I think about it every time I see it.
Yeah. So Neptune its job is to dissolve the 3D world, the physical world. It literally weakens it. Now, when we think about Neptune being at one end, the full moon in Virgo being at the other, and Virgo representing not only hygiene, but your health.
Yeah.
Right? And so there was that dissolving energy that occurred. That was on the 9th of March.
Right.
Now, what else happened on the 9th of March? What was the other key factor?
Well, the other thing that happened was that the very next day, Mercury went direct. Mercury had been in retrograde. Whenever Mercury is in retrograde, communication is muddied. Communication is not clear. We are not getting clear information.
Slowed down.
It's very much slowed down. And when you're talking about not getting clear information in the sign of Pisces in particular, you're talking about distorted information.
Yeah.
And then it becomes even more distorted when it's in retrograde. So we have to be aware of this difficulty. So we're getting double distortion in communication. Now, it did retrograde back into Aquarius, which is communication with the public. You would probably have noticed that the last several days of the Mercury retrograde, that the information that was coming out was more public. We began to get more public information, but the information was still distorted. It was still muddied.
It wasn't clear. It didn't get clear until between the 10th and the 14th. 10th, 14th, 15th, today, right?
Today.
This is when we've got more information than ever before. It started coming out fast and furious.
And it was changing every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day over that
hourly.
Yeah.
Hourly.
oh my gosh, it's
Posts were changing hourly on Facebook. It was like information people, it was just very fast.
Yeah, it's
and very impulsive.
Constantly been changing. Even the information that we're getting from the federal government has been changing 2-3 times a day. So we can see where the information that we're getting is in this constant flux. Mercury's going back into Pisces. And so we're going to have a problem again with getting clear information again.
All right, so let's talk about what else happened on the 9th. That date, March 9th, March 10th, we had Saturn hitting a critical degree.
Yeah, Saturn hit 29 degrees of Capricorn. 29 degrees, whenever a planet hit 29 degrees, that's critical because what happens is suddenly the planet takes on the flavor of the next sign. It begins to wash in. It's almost like the wave comes in of the next energy.
And they typically use the word critical with it because it's a time of testing. Every degree, regardless of what sign it is, that 29 degree remarks it designates a testing moment.
Right.
And what does Saturn do? It restricts. It sets up boundaries. It sets up borders. It can contain things. That's what Saturn does. And if you were to go back in the timeline and look, this is when you first started seeing restrictions on a more vast scale.
Right.
Restrictions within the U.S. that would be, I should say.
But not just in the U.S. This is when restrictions on travel began to happen in Italy, in Iran.
But I think this was when they started. I could be wrong because I'm no historian, but U.S. banned, right?
Yeah.
European, or I should say.
No, the European travel. Actually, I'm not sure exactly what day it happened. That happened on Wednesday. Wednesday night was that announcement. So, the 10th was Tuesday. The very next day was the announcement of the travel ban from Europe. So you can see where that 29 critical degree
and
happened.
Mercury being direct in Aquarius, air, which you're getting more accurate information.
Right. Although the information that came out wasn't necessarily completely accurate.
Right.
Because then the White House had to backpedal and say, oh, no, this is what was meant, this is what was meant, this is what was meant. So while there was more information given, the information was not entirely accurate. Here we're going into this time, Saturn going into Aquarius, and we have
Mercury going into Pisces.
So information
will slow down. It will also become muddied again. And this is important to know.
Yeah.
We have a date.
And this Mercury in Pisces is going to last all the way until April 28th.
So Mercury enters Pisces. It's likely late on the 15th of March or on the 16th of March, depending upon where you live. I know right now, literally, it's like 29, 59 or something, or
47,
50.
actually.
Yeah, so it's right there. It's tinkering the waters. Like you said, the Piscean waters are already rushing in. So just when you understand the way communication is going to be affected, because that is Mercury. Mercury also represents travel, local travel, not long distances like getting the airplane, but traveling in the car. No. This is Mercury. This is how like
within like an hour's drive.
Right. So this is important to understand, which means those things will slow down. So when you understand the energy of the moment, the energy of future moments, you understand how to basically recalibrate your expectations, change plans if you need to be, expect things to take longer, right? Because Mercury's dragging its feet through the Piscean waters.
Yeah, Mercury is
dragging
moving,
its wings through the Piscean waters.
Oh, it is really dragging.
Mercury flies,
because
doesn't do good in water.
It normally moves through a sign in about 3 weeks, and it is going to take nearly 6.
Yeah. That's to give you a nice, just a good example.
This is going to be moving so slowly through Pisces, and Pisces is going to make it really difficult for us to get good, clear accurate information. And one example of how we know that we're not going to get good, clear, accurate information is that the White House has made every single one of the meetings about this, what's the word? They're cutting off, they're making them private. They're having them in a secure room. They're not letting any press in. They're keeping all of the information secret of the meetings that they're having.
Okay, so in relation to COVID-19, right? This is basically an explanation of the energies that we've already experienced and how they relate to the astrological planetary movements and the frequencies that they emit. And so going forward, you know, this is not a video to dive deep into COVID-19. It is more because we honestly haven't studied enough charts thoroughly to actually to feel confident about to speak about. However, following the Saturn cycle is telling.
Yeah.
It's very telling when you look at Saturn and its movements and how it squares up in its cycle through a fixed energy, which is Aquarius, and the squares that it meets up with in Uranus and Taurus. Okay?
Yeah.
So
this is going to be a rough. This is not going to be a short thing. This is not going to be, you know, a couple months and it's going to be over.
But there will be times when
it will abate.
Yeah, well, you'll see less. There'll be a loosening up where things may not feel so tight and restrictive. And the first one that comes up is when Saturn gets back into Capricorn,
right?
More like it retrogrades and it goes back to like 29, then 28, 27, 26, 25.
Right.
So when it starts getting back to those degrees, like in the beginning of July of 2020, it gets back into Capricorn again. It's literally at the 29 degree mark. So there might be a tightening there.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because it's at that critical degree again, but it keeps going backwards.
Yeah, and once it gets back into Capricorn, and it gets to 28.
That's what we're looking for.
What we're going to be seeing is that we're going to see a lessening.
Yeah. When is the 28? Do we have that? When is Capricorn?
Shoot, I thought I wrote that.
Because then that is at least a spot where you'll see in your life a degree of where the restrictions are lifted a little. Okay, where there's a little bit more wiggle room. Now, realize there are other things that go on in the chart. And if you want me to take a look at your personal chart, okay, all you got to do is comment your stuff down below.
Okay,
and I can quickly take a look and give you information to find out if you have personal planets at these degrees that square it, because then that would add additional stress and challenge.
So that's July 17th.
July 17th. So yeah, that really is what we want. We want to get back to that date and feel the lesser of the restriction. Now, when it goes into like Aquarius energy, all right, which is happening soon, it hits air. So what happens when things hit Aquarian energy, they start moving fast. You know, Aquarius is restriction. Saturn likes being in Aquarius though. So what we will see and need to focus on are the positive advancements that will come out of this, right? The advancements, we've got lots of things happening. Education alone. That's just one little small example, right? Things that people didn't think could be done online are being done online, right?
The other thing that this is a good time for all of us to take a long, deep breath and to really turn inward and to focus on what we can do to really elevate our spiritual growth and to really think about where we want to go and what we want to do within our own spiritual beings and how we can all elevate the spiritual growth of the collective and the planet as a whole. And this is a really good time to do this because we are all being restricted and we are all being forced to slow down.
And to go within.
Literally. And to really
go in the house, damn it.
And to really rethink.
Come here, Zoe. She's
our lives and to really rethink how we look at our lives and how we look at ourselves and how we look at the world as a whole. And instead of being out there in the world and rushing. We have to go inward.
Okay, I'm having cat problems.
We have to go inward right now. And we have to really think inward right now. So this is a really good time to spend a lot of time on yourself, to spend a lot of time on meditation, to spend a lot of time getting quiet, to spend a lot of time doing something known as earthing, which is where you walk out just outside your door, because you don't have to go very far. Take your shoes off, sit down. If you have a patio, if you have a yard, sit down, take your shoes off, put your feet flat on the earth, ground yourself, get connected to the planet. Zoe, get connected to the planet.
And the animals.
And to the animals.
So Zoe's telling you, man, pay attention to the animals.
And
we're here.
Really get grounded. And if we can all focus on getting grounded and reconnected to the earth,
recalibrate your systems, recalibrate your unity with humanity, recalibrate your unity with all beings, right? Two-legged, four-legged, that's what it's all about.
And if we can focus, we can all focus on doing that, and we can all focus on the healing energy that exists within all of us, then we can begin to heal the planet and hopefully heal each other.
Yeah, our neighbor has a motorcycle. Anyway, so if there are any questions, I'll say it one last time. If there are any questions that you have about your chart, about the degrees in your chart, all you got to do is comment your stuff below and we'll hook you up.
All right.
Thank you.
Pause it.